Hello, my name is Kimberly Sheridan, and I'm the lead artist of the Million Gun Victims March. I am a self-taught painter who started painting 25 years ago when I was 30. I'm 55 now, but only in April of 2013 did I get started on this project, to paint as many gun victims as I possibly can. When Congress in April of 2013 did not even bother to bring up a bill for universal background checks in the wake of the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre, I went volcanic. I went totally volcanic. I wondered what it was going to take. And then Yoko Ono put an editorial in the New York Times stating that since her husband John Lennon died, over 1 million Americans have been killed by gun. And then I finally asked the question, who are the 1 million Americans? And started finding out who they are and trying to bring them all together. The whole point is that by bringing victims together in one space from every background, no matter who you are, particularly the unknown, only then are we finally going to see how big the loss is to the gun culture, and that we could have sensible legislation out of it. And I am determined to keep on going until Congress passes something.
Go.
Well, I'm trying not to break the door down to the art store. I quickly got the first canvas, and in one mad night of 18 hours straight, here's my first portrait, 3-year-old James Smith III. And then I painted a second and a third. And as they added up, I thought to myself, that's what an artist can do. We treat these gun deaths like 30,000 separate incidences that has no relation to the surrounding culture or anywhere else. I wanted to find out if there were patterns to people getting killed, and since I live here in Baltimore, Baltimoreans will be the first ones up on the easel. So I started looking for information on victims. This is Mackenzie Elliott. She's the 43rd one. That's unsolved. He's my youngest, 16 months old. He was riding with his daddy when 2 men came to the car. And killed by, whether they were killed by strangers, whether they were killed by gangs, or whether they were killed by relatives. In the case of Matthew Thomas here, 11 years old, science winner, wanted to know how the universe works. His father shot him around New Year's Day this year. Reverend Mary Marguerite is one of the oldest, 62. She and Brenda Brewington were killed in Ellicott City when a man broke into the pantry. Ty Quinn Fetter, that's unsolved. Taiwan Short, he was killed on April 9th. And then Freddie Gray died 3 days later. He was 14. Who killed a 14-year-old? We don't know the answer to that. That's one of the patterns, the unsolved. I'm working on this one right now. This is mother and son, which I did not really want to do, but here they are. They're not finished yet. This is the photographs I'm working from of Jennifer and Kester Brown. Someone broke in and shot this mother and this 7-year-old in the head, and I do not know if anyone has been named as a suspect or if anyone has come forward with information. Who shot mother and son? One of the most fortuitous things I met up with was Princess Williams and the Hood to Hood RIP page. This is a picture of Princess Williams' brother, Dominic Nathaniel King. She founded that Facebook page in honor of her brother, where members of the Hood upload photographs of their loved ones in order to be able to memorialize them on some page where no one else will. I'm a member of that. We're working together. There's 8,000 members on that, and I'm the only painter. But there he is. And coming over here, I'm noticing another pattern. This is Freddie Gray's older half-brother, Raymond Gordon, up there. I am noticing that here in this city, we seem to kill off a good deal of older brothers and young fathers. I could point out every young father there is. This is Councilman Kenneth Harris. He was a not-so-young father, but I think he would have wanted to live longer than 45. And this is City Councilman Kenneth Harris Sr. who was also a maybe not quite as young father, but I think he would have liked to have lived longer than 45 if a robber didn't break into the bar where he was having a little celebration. They caught him, but they haven't caught Raymond's. They haven't caught Joseph Haskins. Nobody's caught Bruce Ben's killer, 16-year-old poet. I'm in touch with his mother. I'm trying to get in touch with as many of the families as I can, because in a sense these aren't my paintings. They're not for sale. The paintings are not for sale. They have to stay together in order to give people the understanding of what the total loss is like. Jenny Sherd was in the porch talking with her girlfriend. She studied, she was a Morgan State student, studied abroad. Came home and got shot by a hired gun, but whether she was the target, I don't know. He shot all 4 women. She's the only one that died. There's my brother, Ron Wagner. He was shot around the corner from me, and that is unsolved as well. Robert Laney Jr., also unsolved. I'm in touch with Gary Lee Helmick's daughter, even though he died 22 years ago. You still miss your father when he's taken away at 10. I'm hoping this helps do something for the grandchildren he never got to know. Here's 2 from domestic abuse. Victoria Glover and Gwendolyn Johnson. Ex-husband comes up to her while she's strapping her 3-year-old in the car. She was an office nurse at a doctor's office. Well, imagine you're that 3-year-old, and one of the first and last memories you have of your mommy is the day Daddy came behind Mommy and shot her, and she fell on me and died. I go into this because I want to bring forth the total loss of what it's like. Put yourself in their shoes. Gwendolyn Johnson was shot by her same-sex partner in an argument over $70, and is the only woman shooter I know so far in 67 portraits. Sergeant Tyrone Brown did 2 tours in Iraq, got shot by a cop in 2010 in Mount Vernon in an argument over what he said was harassing a lady. Who shot 15-year-old Vittel Murray and left him by the tracks? Why was LeVar Crawford shot? He was shot the same day as the 2 victims in Columbia. Who got more coverage? Who shot Devin Cook, the lacrosse lover and zoo worker? It's been a year and no one has come forward. Kendra Diggs was shot by her fiancé from out the 2nd-story window. She worked for the MTA and leaves a son behind. Another orphan without mom. Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it. Truc Thi Le Nguyen was a recent immigrant from Vietnam. Her fiancé brought her over. They were going to get married and get a house. Instead, she was working at T&T Nail Salon when the shooter came in blazing away at her customer, and apparently her head got in the way. He was tackled right then and there. My range starts on December 9th, 1980 and runs to the present. So sometimes I go back, like this one from 2002. Everybody called him Muffy. He was a fun-loving guy. Boffy. He was a fun-loving guy. Why would anyone want to shoot him and leave him in an alley? This is the oldest one, Officer Vincent Adolfo. He was shot chasing a carjacker and cornered him in an alley. His legacy is that the vest now goes around to the back as well as the front. That's 1985, is 30 years ago. Tyreka Martin, Kishonna Pinder, Brian Powell. Young mother, young father. Same apartment, Mondawmin Mall, March 2013. Who would break in broad daylight and shoot all 3 of them, and why? Her mother wants to know, her sister wants to know, and his sister wants to know. No one has been named. A triple killing, and no one is coming forward. How long have young black men been killed on the streets? Dante Jackie Coleman, this is 20 years ago, 1995. There's a football stadium being built in back of him. It gives a time reference because he never got to see the Ravens play. It said the shooter came up on a bike. I'm hoping it's a motorbike because if you come on a regular pedal bike, that would make it twice as sad. Malik Fuller shot this year, 6 days short of his 17th birthday. Who did that? Deshaun Jones, 15 years old. Wanted to make a name as a hip-hop artist under the name Lord Deshawn. You can see him perform on YouTube, waving a prop gun in the air. Shot the day before he was supposed to start high school. Who killed him? And why they would let someone that already killed a man out on the street, Oscar Torres from Mexico, was working at a store. The guy was driving the van. The killer came up, shot them both. Oscar dies. He takes the van and wasn't caught until police chased him and he ran into an SUV, killing 12-year-old Shaniza Taylor. While the National Guard was here guarding the harbor, 3 robbers broke into a deli in Highlandtown and shot Yogesh Seth. Everybody called him Joe. I'm sorry, I never...
Go.
He's the first Hindu American that has come volunteering. The only thing the robbers took was the pleasure of Joe's smile whenever he would greet his customers. I don't think that mini mart has reopened. Gerald Commodore, his sister, has another older brother. This is a pattern. I don't believe in 20 or 30 coincidences. These two, Alex Ulrich and Lawrence Peterson, were shot by a street robber near the Belvedere back in 2012. Alex was a budding photographer. He died almost instantly, but Lawrence Peterson, the mayor of Mount Vernon and a Navy man, struggled for 22 months not to leave the neighborhood he loved. But it was too much, and his heart gave out in May, and 6 weeks later they finally catch the shooter. How long have police been killing young black men? Kevin's here to tell you. 1799 to 1999. He's pointing out, saying, remember when this piece of crap was the best thing in audio? The boombox? That's how long ago. Raquan Campbell, his father asked me to pay Raquan. He was 15. Why would anyone shoot him 10 times? We don't have the shooter. And Tracy Love, now I don't do criminal background checks. I don't care if someone shoots you, you're innocent. I will paint you that way. But for Tracy, he had a good reason to make good on his parole. He's carrying around a little baby carrier, but no baby. Someone shot him and left him in an alley. I would like to get in touch with his family. There's a daughter that will never know Dad. These are the only 3 I have right now, what I call Suicide Row. This is Christopher Robinson. More people commit suicide with guns than kill other people with guns, but these are the only 3 I have here on Suicide Row. Christopher Robinson was a Baltimore police officer. He drove his car to Glen Burnie and shot 2 other people, including his ex-girlfriend. Darian Aguilar is the Columbia Mall shooter who shot himself. Why would I do him? I think I understand him to a degree. And here's Mike Flanagan. Does anybody remember Mike Flanagan? Left-handed Cy Young winning award ace. Couldn't handle the depression anymore. I don't know why, but he brought his new rifle to his favorite fishing spot. And there he did away with himself at the age of 59. He's going to be still missed by the Orioles organization. Do any of us remember? When you're painting single portraits, that's another challenge. But when you've got more than one person, that you have to put 4 times. I have to put 4 times the effort into this. William Monroe and Megan Kerrigan, their next door neighbor, broke into their house at 6 in the morning and tried to shoot the entire family. First-time parents. They looked forward to raising their little girl, but they died. The grandmother, injured, is still dealing with injuries. Another lady was shot. The baby was not physically hurt, but we have a toddler who has survived a combat situation that even hardened soldiers should not have to go. Why does it happen here, and why is that okay? It's America. It happens. It shouldn't happen that no toddler should be asked to survive that. This are the Browning family. Mr. and Mrs. Browning and 2 of their 3 sons. Where's the 3rd son? He's in prison for making this portrait possible. He got into an argument with his father over wanting to go to an all-night party. He said, "You're too young for that." The son thought differently, took the family 9mm, shot them all as they slept, and went and had a good time, thinking, wow, I can inherit the money and I'll be free. That's not the case. He didn't think things through. He was caught almost immediately. Leroy Agnew and Loretta Little were enjoying a more quiet and loving second marriage. Not to each other, they were second husband and second wife. And they had a little 5-year-old together. They might want to take him to the merry-go-round. They can't. Someone broke into the house and shot them. Luckily, the child was not physically injured, but he also was an orphan. And I don't know if anyone has been arrested for this one either. It's unsolved. Unsolved is also Frank and Anthony Turner, New Year's Day 2014. Afternoon, they're out walking. Now the paper said Frank used to be a member of what was called the Turner Boys during the outrageous age of cocaine. Someone came up to him, started shooting. Anthony turned to help his father, so they gunned him down too. Father and older brother gone. Here's Andrew Hoffman and Marie Leanne Hartman. Marie Leanne was going out with Christopher Robinson, but broke off the relationship. She was starting a nice and romance with firefighter Andrew Hoffman and Glen Burnie when Christopher drove down in his police car, busted in the door, shot Andrew and Marie Leanne, and then turned the gun on himself. I won't paint a shooter and his victims together. I don't even want to hang them near each other, but that's why there's a Dalmatian. It was autumn. They might have wanted to have a nice campfire dinner together. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know now. They're gone. Carl and Kurt Borain, two older brothers, walking down Fells Point in early November just before the holidays. Stopped to talk to a young lady. Her boy minder kind of got angry about this, and he followed them for a few blocks and then went up and shot them both in the back of the head to teach him a lesson about talking to his woman. He has just been sentenced. I suppose that brings a little closure to the case. But who's left behind? A son that Carl will never know. Unless this can get out. 2013, this is the story of two friends who were brothers in all but parents. They knew each other since elementary school. Robert Jackson Jr. and Frank Harper Jr. Robert Jackson was found shot multiple times in an alley, and again, no shooter has been identified. Frank was getting over that, was at a Subway around Reisterstown Road, got in an argument with the security guard. They went out to argue at the gas station. The guard took out the gun, and even though Frank raised his hands to surrender, he was shot dead. They died 3 weeks apart. So I pictured Robert here in the entryway to, like, I guess a nightclub of your dreams, waving, "Come on, Frank, let's go, let's go." And Frank is saying, "I gotta go now. I gotta go now." These are only 67 portraits, and this is the Million Gun Victims March. Is there any other artist out there who would like to join me in this roller coaster ride? I really would like to see what would happen if you put together literally 1 million portraits of Americans that have died over the past 35 years. If we had 1 million portraits, do you think anyone can deny that we might need basic gun safety common sense with background checks and training? Is every way like Baltimore? What do people in the rest of the nation have? Are there different patterns? One pattern I notice is all these black young men. And I'm very sorry to say I was that stupid in not seeing it, and that it took a massacre of a mostly white elementary school class to finally get the blinders out of my eyes and look around and find out who's dying here. And there's many, many more models coming. I have so many. And I'd like to help Princess Williams with Hood to Hood RIP and make that into a nationwide sensation too. Without her, I wouldn't know half of them. There wouldn't be half of these portraits up here now. So please contact me and ask if you want to go on an adventure, because it is. And it's wearying, but I'm going to keep doing it if I have to do it for the rest of my life.